Hello and welcome to the big fight and welcome to India under GST. So it's been a day since what's been called the biggest tax reform ever has actually come into force. And we are here one day later just to sort of take stock of everything that's happened. It is a dramatic moment. It is potentially going to have a revolutionary impact on many parts of the Indian economy. And we've spent a large part of this week really trying to figure out what it means and for whom and what the analysis is. And still, even after all of that, a lot of people out here, including the large audience here, still has questions, still trying to figure it all out. So we're going to take a look at GST one more time, try and wrap the whole thing up and try and explain it to you. So over the next 1 hour, hopefully, if you still have any questions on GST, they are going to be answered. And we'll also try and take a look at some of the aspects of this that are still puzzling us. For example, the question of why the Congress decided to boycott that function at midnight last night. Still struggling to get answers for that, but no doubt we'll try and get somewhere over the course of the next 1 hour. Right, so let me just introduce all the guests. We have experts out here, and we're also going to be hearing from many others. Manpreet Badal, the Finance Minister of Punjab, we're going to be hearing from him. Shobna Kamineni, the President of CII, great to have you with us as well. I spoke to Anand Sharma and many others who are closely associated with this, and we'll be hearing from them. Many people in the government I have been speaking to over the last couple of days, and I'm just going to play you some extracts of what they have been saying, including Hasmukh Kadia, the man who's really put GST together, Arvind Subramaniam, the Chief Economic Advisor, and many others as well. But joining us also right here on the big fight, Rajiv Gowda from the Congress Party. Professor Rajiv Gowda, you'll be no doubt explaining to us why you didn't go there at midnight yesterday. Sunil Alagh, of course, noted industrialist and also a noted supporter of Narendra Modi and the government, and thinks that this is a major step that they've been able to get through. Professor Arun Kumar has been joining us in helping to understand this, as has Mukesh Bhutani, who's of course one of the top tax consultants in the country. Does that smile, Mukesh, mean that you're going to suddenly have a lot more work, or does it mean that you are it's a simple, good and simple tax for which consultants won't be required?
Vikram, the proof of pudding is in eating, so let's wait and see.
Let's wait and see. And finally, but by no means least, Dr. Jagdish Shettigad, who's not just a very influential economist, was part of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council way back in 2000, when Mr. Vajpayee first started to really talk about the possibility of GST, and then, of course, the whole thing took on a momentum of its own. We're also going to go to reporters in many parts of the country to tell us what's happening. Phew, so I'm exhausted just sort of wrapping it up. Okay, so many questions, of course, as I said, are still there in all of our minds. Let me first start off with the politics of it. Now, actually, you would have to say that this has been one of the high points of Indian democracy, that you had political parties across the entire spectrum came together, passed the GST constitutional amendment virtually by complete unanimity, worked together on the GST Council. India's politicians, that argumentative lot, that fractious lot, came together and did something in the interest of the country jointly and together. Actually, they deserve an applause for that, a round of applause for them. And then, just when we were all applauding the politicians for that display of unanimity, at the stroke of the midnight hour, the opposition said, we're not going to actually turn up for that. So, Rajiv, why don't I get the politics out of the way first before I come to GST itself? Why didn't the Congress go yesterday and other members of the opposition?
Well, see, the GST has been a bill that we've been pushing, a reform that we've been pushing for a very long time. We've put in a lot of effort to improve the GST, and that's why it took so much time and effort to bring it out in a particular form and allow us to all come together and pass the constitutional amendment bill. However,
hang on. So you think of the bill in the first place, which you did. You worked to try and push it through, which you did. You have correctly said that at a certain point, the BJP was opposing it, in fact, including the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his then avatar as the Chief Minister of Gujarat, which is also correct. You have then helped the Congress, the government, in working in various councils and to get this bill through. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said, let's not have amendments in the Rajya Sabha and so on and so forth. And finally, when the time comes to actually be out there and take credit for the work that you have done to get GST through, you say, no, we're going to sulk and sit at home.
Hardly. We are concerned about what the impact is going to be on the economy. The economy is on a downward slide right now, and we are concerned that after the chaos of demonetization...
So your idea, your policy, and now you're concerned about the fact that it could have a bad impact on the economy.
See, look at the implementation. This government keeps screwing up on the implementation side. If we were in charge, we would have taken care of 4 or 5 things. We would have made sure that the GST and network was tried and tested. We would have made sure that all states had passed the GST. We would have made sure that even the small and medium enterprises would have had access to changes and how to implement them.
You're saying it's a great idea.
Basically, implementation is key. We do not want a reform like this to create havoc amongst the trading and other small business community.
You're saying it's a great idea, but you're worrying
about
no
rush. There were a few more months. Test it out, figure it all out, right? And don't unleash chaos on the Indian economy.
Jagdish Shettigar, let me turn to you to respond to that. He says it's a great idea, it's been a great idea, and they're taking partial credit for the idea, but they think the implementation could be a lot better and a lot more preparedness was necessary. Would you agree with that?
I think it is a political blunder committed by the Congress, which I am sure that they will repent it soon. Because having been party to the every decision, because no decision has been taken on the basis of the majority, all the decisions were taken through the consensus, which means that the Congress finance ministers, whether they are from Karnataka or the Himachal, they are also the party to the decision. So, having been the party to the entire idea, and as Rajiv Gowda has pointed out, so they are the one who worked for this GST transformation.
Right.
Now, I think if they had participated, in fact, they could have taken the credit for that, and they have missed that credit.
Okay, let me get other views on this. Sunil Alak?
You know, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think the nation on a tax movement like this is ever going to be, the time is never right. If they had said 3 months, and if the government had said let's do it on 1st October, on the last week of September, again give us a few months. So this thing, as far as we are Indians, we have to introduce it, and we are going forward. But yesterday, a lot of people from Congress on TV were saying it's because they didn't want to make an event out of it, which Mr. Modi made. 1 second. Therefore, one last point I want to make is, the mistake they are making is what they are treating as an event. They've made Mr. Modi the event. He is not managing the event. They are making Mr. Modi the event of India.
And to be fair to Mr. Modi, to be fair to Mr. Modi, yesterday he did say it's not my achievement, it's not the government's achievement, it's the achievement of our entire...
So they're giving up that position to Mr. Modi now, which they could have shared.
Okay, actually that particular argument, I asked this exact question, Rajiv, I know that some of these decisions are taken at various levels. So one of the people perhaps involved with that was Anand Sharma, and I asked him this question just before that session began yesterday. I said, Mr. Sharma, why is the Congress party not going for this session? This is what he had to say.
It is a fundamental issue, a matter of principles, when it comes to the dignity of Parliament and the solemn occasions on which the midnight sessions were held, beginning 14th of August midnight, 1947, moving on then to the silver jubilee of the freedom, that was in 1972, 15th of August, then the silver jubilee in 1997. So all these occasions, Congress was there. In 97, Atalji was the Prime Minister. But there have been many landmarks, many major, much bigger than this, achievements of this country, Vikram, between then and now. When we go back in history, then in 1971, Bangladesh was liberated. Pakistan army was forced to surrender. Greatest military victory. The then Prime Minister, Srimati Indira Gandhi, respected the tradition, the sanctity, and never wanted to trivialize what was associated with the midnight session. That was the freedom. So no celebrations were held. We did not have celebrations when India became a nuclear power in 1974. It was again Indira Gandhi as the Prime Minister. What we feel that it is just a tax. It is not another freedom. You are equating and elevating it to the freedom movement, to that moment. That is an insult to history in itself. We are trivializing the struggle, the sacrifice of the Indian national movement.
Okay, so just to try and, I want to know who wants to respond to that. Is that a good enough reason? Because Mrs. Gandhi didn't do it in 1971 after the 1971 war, we're not going to turn up for this.
Well, we don't want to make these things tamashas. And this has become a grand special tamasha, GST, and this is the standard marketing efforts on the part of Mr. Modi. See, these are reforms that you usher in. You're trying to improve the economy. These are not necessarily things that require
But you're giving the entire credit
what,
to him instead of taking some of the credit yourself.
No, pay attention to what Mr. Anand Sharma said. This is a sacred space where the constitution was signed, where freedom was ushered in. So keep it sacred. Don't make it a place for the next party that you want to hold.
Can I say one thing?
There is something.
Rajiv, can I just say one thing?
You can say many. Let me
This was
finish.
a constitutional amendment for the first time. Okay, never since 1947 has the constitution been amended in a tax system. So it's an event. It is not any other normal thing of passing a liberalization tax or a woman's tax, or which is a normal thing of parliament. Now this was a constitutional amendment bringing about a major change in which the economy is going to move. And the Prime Minister thought it was great, so it was great.
Okay.
Full stop.
It just doesn't merit that level of.
That's your view.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. And there are numerous other constitutional amendments that have had
could have
bigger
said-
impact on
let
the
me
country, on society, on the nation.
Fine.
We haven't gone and celebrated them that way.
We've heard the explanation. I'm still not 100% sure if the Congress thinks that is the right thing that you did. That's fine. I'm sure we've already heard the explanation. Let me now try and go out there and see what is actually happening on the ground. It's been a day since GST. Maya's there in Bangalore. Anant is there in Mumbai. We're going to get a sense from Uma as well. Maya, Anant, give us a sense of how it's unfolding on the ground there. Maya, why don't I start with you?
Yes, well, we are actually at the Jayanagar shopping complex, a collection of shops rented out from the BBMP. Certain amount of confusion, I think. This is Mr. Sanjeev Hemrajani, who's the owner of the Balaji garment store here. Your thoughts on day one?
It's very confused actually. You know, people don't have the entire information of what GST actually is, and the more confusing part for the textile people is that they have two slabs. One is the 5% slab, which is welcomed because we are paying 0.5% lesser tax, and then the 12% tax. So that has to be sorted out.
For garments above 1,000.
Yes, 1,000 rupees. Few people say MRP, few people say it is the cost price above 1,000 rupees.
One more confusion.
One more confusion that is to be cleared. And but I don't think until and unless anybody who is honestly doing the business should not face any problem. Yes.
Has it affected your business or your sales on day one, or are you everything smooth?
Actually, today is very dull. Yes.
It is dull.
Yes, it is little dull, and it is little affected because everybody is running a pre-GST sale. Everybody is running a pre-GST
So
sale.
the pre-GST sale has had a fallout there. Now, Mr. KV Venkatesh, Nagashi bookstore. Now, books not necessarily under GST, but some are.
No, actually it is exempted throughout, even in the earlier days it was exempted from tax structure, and I think it has been continued because in the GST rules and regulations they say it is specified only for books meant for drawing and coloring, something like that, but it was not very clear.
Not clear.
But we have to see that HSN schedule where so many products are listed, even the general books has to come. And today morning, I have received one new invoice from my publishers and distributors, and there they have given the HSN code and the tax structure as zero. As zero. And as far as my knowledge goes, I think books are exempted from tax.
As far as you know, so you're still waiting for a bit of clarification.
No, actually, because I got the first invoice done today, and it's a private limited company. And I think they must have consulted the government to get the clarification on it.
Maya, you've been doing a sterling job in various shops since yesterday, so we'll allow you to get on with your never-ending shopping. Thanks for joining us with that. Anant, what are you sensing where you are right now?
Well, yes, Vikram, we are at the Octroi Naka, which is between Vashi and Mumbai, and we're witnessing slightly chaotic scenes over here. Perhaps you can hear the noise in the background. There are angry truck drivers who've been waiting since yesterday because there is no clarity on whether they're supposed to pay Octroi because they've been held up at this particular Naka. Let's try and get a sense from people. So just tell us, what is the problem here? Is the BMC not allowing you to go inside the Mumbai city? What is the problem?
Yeah, that is the problem.
यहाँ समस्या क्या है?
समस्या सबसे बड़ी ये है कि जो लोग 12 बजे के बाद यहाँ पे आए हुए हैं उनको भी यहाँ पे छोड़ा नहीं जा रहा है कि ऑक्ट्राई भरना है नहीं भरना है, वो क्लियर नहीं है.
You've been here since how long? Your truck is stuck here for how long?
Since 11:30 night the vehicle is stuck up, and though we are willing to pay the octroi amount, they are not accepting it, and even they are not allowing the take the vehicle back. I don't know why it is happening. So it's a
Are they
totally
giving you a receipt for octroi, or what are they doing?
They're not giving us the exact receipt. They're giving us a manual copy, which is, I don't know how far that is going to hold good for all of us.
Right. But what are the BMC officials saying? Because they said that, only those vehicles who came before 12, they have to pay octroi. Are they giving you a computerized receipt? What are they
Nothing.
giving?
They're not going any computer receipt. It's just a manual one. We do not know the authenticity of the receipt.
And are there agents who usually help with octroi?
Agents are also facing problem because the entire office has been shut down overnight.
Right. Absolutely right. So how octroi works is, Vikram, that agents take payments and they make the payments to BMC officials, because mostly truck drivers come here who are not literate and who cannot fill forms. But yes, there are some issues, glitches that perhaps have not been sorted out. Octroi is a huge source of revenue to the BMC, about 7,000 crores, and these are the problems that most truck drivers are facing here. They have been stuck up and held up over here on account of this lack of clarity. So they're not getting the, they're not being able to make their payments, and also they are still held up over here at this particular octroi naka.
All right, Anant, I can only assume that those are day one teething problems, because at least when it comes to octroi, there should certainly be no question anymore. There should be no octroi. The truck should be free absolutely to move from one state to the other. Let me just get a quick view from the top tax experts around whom we do have.
The only reason this chaos is attributable to is largely to make sure that trucks that have crossed the local area have not crossed before the midnight of 30th of...
Because after midnight, once they've crossed, now there should be no octroi.
Yes. So they would be stopping those...
That's the whole advantage of it.
They have to carry an e-way bill. In the new system, each truck will have to carry e-way bill. That e-way bill would have to be generated from the point where it started. And if that's not there, then the confusion comes. So because these trucks had already left where they had left, so they didn't carry an e-way bill. And I think this is what illustrates the kind of problem that we are having with GST. It's a good tax, but not a simple tax. So these are people who are coming from, say, very uneducated, people who don't know how all this system will work. So we needed time for that. And that's why I sympathize with the Congress a little bit, because what they are saying is that 6 months back, everybody thought it was very simple, but it's not turning out to be simple. Traders are protesting, business people are protesting, because they don't understand it.
Okay, let me also quickly go across to Uma Sudhir, who's trying to get a sense of day one, how is it actually playing itself out?
Thank you, Vikram. We come to you from MG Road in Secunderabad. Represents, in fact, multiple trades, and we are here. We have representatives from different trades. Mr. Prakash, you represent the cloth trade. You were on, in fact, 72-hour strike, asking for a rollback, in a sense, of the GST that's been imposed on cloth.
Yes, madam. We welcome this GST, madam. But as a textile trader, we asked the government to withdraw the GST on textiles. In the third GST council meeting also, by when they were analyzing for different tax sectors for 5, 8, 5, 12, 18, 28, and when it comes to on which goods it has to be exempted, they have taken the unanimous decision by 29 finance ministers of the state and 2 union representatives, stating that where there is no central excises on the product, at the same time where there is no VAT on that product, all those goods will be under exempted category. In 15th meeting, on the recommendation of a handful of corporate manufacturers for their benefit, on June 3rd, this government has announced that on textiles also we are going to impose 5% GST. Hence, I request through your media the government to stand on the word which they have given twice, that they are not going to keep GST on textiles. So hence we request the government to immediately roll back on textiles, madam.
Mr. Naveen, you represent the electric traders. What is your issue now?
We welcome GST. Our trade welcomes GST. But there are certain issues in our electrical trade. First of all, the people, what they don't, right now they are not ready with this GST implementation, because lot of people, lot of traders don't have even computers, and even a single staff, single person, they are running the business. So at this, at least we should have given, they should have given any 3 months or 6 month training to them.
You believe that will actually lead to people not coming into the net of the tax net itself, which is what the idea is, isn't it? More compliance we want.
Yeah, what we need, government should take, they should make the rationalization of taxes. If it is 12%, suppose for all the products, no, the people and traders will welcome that the thing, and everyone will come into the fold. But right now the people are on fear. At 28%, how we will sell the product? Okay, it goes to the consumer at last. but there is a lot of difference between tax and product, no? So it will, what I can say, that it will increase the grey market sales again. The people will try to evade the taxes.
Sir, you are someone who believes that this is obviously good, but you also represent the BJP party here.
भारत की सरकार जो नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार है, कोई किसको सताने के लिए नहीं है. वो ऑफिशियल्स बराबर काम करेंगे. आपको ट्रेनिंग लीजिए. आप टैक्स पे करिए. टैक्स पे करें तो भारत का उन्नति पे शिखर पे होगा. आज हम टैक्स कहां पे कर रहे हैं? 17 टैक्स थे. 17 टैक्स खत्म किया उन्होंने. एक टैक्स जीएसटी लागू किया. उसके लिए धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं प्रधानमंत्री जी, हमारे वित्त मंत्री जी को. हम अगर महाराष्ट्र से लाके कुछ चीज बेचते थे, रास्ते में रेलवे पुलिस वाले पकड़ते थे, फिर सिकंदराबाद में आए तो सिकंदराबाद और पुलिस वाले पकड़ते थे, फिर सेल टैक्स वाले पकड़ते थे. 4 जगह हमें समस्या होती थी. आज हम कहां से भी ला सकते हैं और कहां भी बेच सकते हैं. इसके लिए उन्हें धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं. और कोई कस्टमर जो कोई तैयार हर चीज टैक्स देने के लिए, वो एक ही सोच रहा है भारत उन्नति पे चले, मैं भी ईमानदारी से भारत में टैक्स दूं बोल के.
Traders, at least this one, certainly supporting the GST and saying that we should go ahead. After all, it's the consumer, the taxpayer who is going to pay. The cost will perhaps be passed on to those consumers. Back to you, Vikram.
Dr. Shettigard, so, I mean, there are these complexities and problems. Now, what the government is essentially seems to be saying is, yes, there are going to be teething troubles. There would always be teething troubles when we start implementing it. So, you know, you just have to grin and bear it for a while.
No, for that matter, any law, when you implement, there will be transitional problem. This is also the same transitional problem. Now, once things are made clear, I don't think that anybody should have complained.
You know, actually, what you're saying is absolutely right. See, the consumer is not affected at all. They know what the tax is. When they're going in, they pay the bills. Everything else is fine. Now,
for the consumer, it will be a few days while all the price tags change, while you figure out what the...
No, but if inflation goes up, that would be a concern for them.
If inflation goes up, and that's not...
So the big manufacturers have been planning for the last 3 months and they've been prepared. It's rightly so, the middle guys who have not been, and we've been raising the same issue. Perhaps it could have been made simpler. Look, until you don't introduce something, you will never know what the problems are. And the government is going to be responsive to all the stuff that comes. Otherwise, we will never start. If you're wanting a perfect system, the current system is not a perfect system. No, including the Prime Minister said it.
There's a scale of imperfection. And if you want to be 99% imperfect, then that's what we saw yesterday.
But you knew on the 1st of April what the system was. Why do you wake up in the last week of June? That's the question I want to ask. Is something decided now? We like to wake up 3 days before it's introduced. That's the problem.
You still have 3 more months. Many things could have been ironed out.
What the large-scale industry would do, large-scale business would do, but people were not looking at what would happen in the other structures.
Okay, let me go back to Mukesh Bhutani on that note.
To answer one point on inflation, I think that the rate structure has been designed in such a manner that a substantial part of essential goods which form a part of the consumer price index are taxed at a lower rate. So I think a lot of concerns on inflation are largely not correct in my view. I think what is clearly evident is on the services, banking, telecom and financial services, particularly insurance, a straight hike of 15 to 18%. But other than that, there are no discernible trends that are evident insofar as inflation is concerned.
So just pause for a minute. Let me just try and sum this up. So we looked at the political.
One quick point I want to add.
Can I just come back to all of you? I'm just putting out a couple of.
Don't raise the percentage. Look, if you are paying a bill of 3,000 rupees a month on your telecom, the average guy, what does 2% work out to? 150 rupees. Understand in rupees, everybody says 3% more, 5% more. A lot of, one second.
That's not the best example you could have found.
Vikram, it means a lot for the center. When you're collecting in the center, it will be a huge amount. But for the individual, when there are a lot of prices,
worker who does have a mobile phone, 150
when the
rupees could
prices
be a lot.
are going down on many things, it's going up. You'll have to balance whether your budget is affected or not.